The night of February 15, 1898, settled upon Havana Harbor like a shroud. The air, thick with the scent of sugarcane and salt, hung heavy over the warships moored in the harbor. A lone American battleship, the USS Maine, rode the gentle swells. Its white hull gleamed faintly under the waning moon, a symbol of American strength in uncertain times. Cuba, a Spanish colony teetering on the brink of revolution, was a powder keg. The United States, with its growing economic interests and sympathy for the Cuban rebels, watched anxiously. On board the Maine, 355 sailors and Marines went about their nightly routines, unaware of the catastrophe that awaited them. In the stifling heat below decks, men dreamed of home, their slumber punctuated by the ship's gentle creaking. Above on the quarterdeck, the officer of the watch paced, his eyes scanning the darkened harbor. The warm breeze carried with it whispers of music and laughter from the city's waterfront, a stark contrast to the quiet tension that gripped the Maine. It was a night like any other, or so it seemed. But fate, as it often does, had a cruel twist in store. At 9:40 p.m., the stillness of the night was shattered by a deafening roar. A blinding flash of orange light illuminated the harbor, followed by a shockwave that rocked the city of Havana. The Maine, once a proud symbol of American might, was now a mangled wreck, its forward third blown to pieces. The harbor churned with debris and the cries of dying men. The explosion ripped through the forward magazines where the ship's ammunition was stored. The force of the blast was so powerful that it hurled debris hundreds of feet into the air. Some of the Maine's heavier guns were found embedded in the harbor floor, testament to the sheer violence of the event. As smoke billowed skyward, panicked sailors fought for their lives in the darkness. Some were trapped below decks, their escape routes blocked by twisted metal. Others, blown into the water, struggled to stay afloat amidst the oil and debris.
I remember the night vividly. The explosion was like nothing I had ever heard before. The entire harbor was in chaos, and the cries of the men, it was heartbreaking.
The sinking of the Maine sent shockwaves through both American and Cuban societies. The American public, fueled by sensationalist newspaper headlines, immediately cried foul play. The finger of blame pointed squarely at Spain, already viewed with suspicion and mistrust. "Remember the Maine?" became a rallying cry, pushing the two nations closer to the brink of war.
3 main suspects emerged in the investigation that followed: Spain, the United States, and an accidental coal fire. Spain, already battling a fierce Cuban insurgency, seemed the most likely culprit in the eyes of many. The possibility of a mine planted by Spanish agents or sympathetic Cuban insurgents was a chilling thought. But could a nation on the verge of losing its colonial grip risk provoking the United States?
The theory of American sabotage, while less popular, found its adherents. Proponents of this theory argued that elements within the U.S. government, eager to intervene in Cuba, might have orchestrated the explosion as a pretext for war. This theory, however, lacked concrete evidence and relied heavily on speculation and conjecture.
Finally, there was the possibility of an accidental coal fire. Naval vessels of the era, reliant on coal-fired boilers, were susceptible to spontaneous combustion in their coal bunkers. A fire in the coal bunker adjacent to the magazine could have ignited the ammunition, leading to the catastrophic explosion. This theory, while less sensational, aligned with known risks associated with naval vessels of the period.
The official U.S. Naval Court of Inquiry, convened in the wake of the disaster, concluded that a mine had caused the explosion. This finding, based on the testimony of divers and the pattern of damage to the hull, only served to solidify the public's perception of Spanish guilt. However, a later investigation conducted in 1974 suggested that an internal explosion possibly caused by a coal fire was the more likely cause.
The mystery of the USS Maine, despite over a century of investigation and debate, remains unsolved. Did a Spanish mine, an act of American sabotage, or a tragic accident send 266 American sailors to their deaths? The truth, obscured by time and conflicting narratives, may never be fully known. But the legacy of the Maine, and the role it played in shaping the destiny of both Spain and the United States, continues to resonate.
The sinking of the Maine serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of unchecked nationalism and the inflammatory power of the press. It is a story not just about a sunken ship, but about the elusive nature of truth and the enduring impact of perception on the course of history.